Chinese electric cars are making headlines again because some of them are running on batteries made of salt. Well, that's what's being reported at least. Until now, lithium has been the key ingredient in e-car batteries, but it's difficult and expensive to obtain. But salt, aka sodium, isn't.
I really can see these headlines in front of me. Are sodium-ion batteries the lithium killer?
Does China's head start mean they'll rule the market again? Or do companies in Europe stand a chance of competing? Welcome to this episode of Transforming Business. Lithium is an ultralight element that's become an integral part of battery technology. But it's relatively difficult and expensive to procure. Extraction methods vary depending on where it comes from. The three biggest producers are Australia, Chile, and China. Until now, China is by far the largest battery producer. We're going to need more battery capacity in the next few decades, not just for our smartphones, laptops, and electric cars, but to store wind and solar energy.
The market will probably not only double until 2030, it's probably times 5 more like this.
Martin Oschatz is a professor for the chemistry of energy materials at the University of Jena, Germany. Relying on lithium alone won't cut it. The world will need every option available, and that's where sodium-ion batteries come into the picture. So let's take a look at that element. Beneath the Earth's crust, sodium is abundant, making up around 2.3%. It might not sound like much, but that's over 1,000 times more the amount of lithium found under the Earth's crust. Not only is it more readily available, but it's also cheaper. In early 2024, sodium carbonate was valued at approximately $290 per metric ton. Battery-grade lithium carbonate was more than $13,000 per metric ton. And lithium batteries need precious materials like cobalt and nickel to work. But sodium doesn't. It's found everywhere. It's simply salt, and not limited to a specific region. The world's largest battery manufacturer, Chinese CATL, already went big on sodium-ion technology in 2021. Just 2 years later, it was supplying Chinese carmaker Chery with salt batteries. And recently, this e-car type from JAC Group's Yiwei was in the spotlight. Reports say that some of the cars from this model are powered by a sodium battery. This probably means that in some Chinese cities, tiny salt-powered e-cars are already in use, though we weren't able to find any further information or figures on how many of them.
At the moment, I think China is leading the race. One should never give up. But we have this technology sooner or later with us also, I think. But now it's in China and we have to close the gap.
But what does that mean for the big lithium producers? Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina. They constitute what's known as a lithium triangle because together they own about 53% of lithium reserves worldwide. Does the invention of sodium batteries threaten their turf?
We tend to compare lithium-ion and sodium-ion technology as competitors. And I really can see these headlines in front of me. Are sodium-ion batteries the lithium killer?
This is Alexander Buchel. He's a battery cell development manager at Ultras. He and William work for a Swedish sodium-ion battery startup, located about an hour's drive from Stockholm in a city called Uppsala. He tells us that his entry into the sodium-ion battery sector started by accident during his postdoc.
We were producing so much blue powder that there was blue all over the walls and all over the fume hoods, and the university was getting upset at us.
Here's how sodium-ion batteries are made. First, this bright blue powder is made into a slurry, and then coated onto aluminum foil. It's dried in a big machine like this one, and then compressed on a machine like this. The excess is trimmed away with a laser cutter. All these black squares are stacked together before going into a hermetically sealed glove box, here, and where electrolytes are added under a controlled environment. Then it's just a matter of testing the battery. One of the arguments for sodium-ion batteries is that they can cycle more, which means they can be used and recharged and used again more than lithium-ion batteries.
Talking about lifetime here, we have to, of course, also talk about in what applications are they being used. For example, portable electronics. A person is very happy if you can charge and discharge your mobile phone for more than 1,000 times without losing a lot of capacity.
And what about cars? Remember the headline that Chinese e-cars are powered by sodium-ion batteries? Can't the technology be scaled up?
With lithium-ion batteries, we have a great product market fit for especially electric vehicles. And this is also where we see that sodium-ion batteries will have a hard time, mainly because there is an inherently lower energy density to the technology.
This is Andreas Haas from the Swedish firm Northvolt, a big lithium-ion battery producer in Europe. It works with Altris and sodium-ion battery development and production and wants to reach full-scale production by the end of the decade.
The hardest part about trading into battery technology is actually not making one good battery in a laboratory. It's to produce 1 million of those, including the supply chain of it, including the gigafactories that you need to build.
But why is China so far ahead? Experts say that while Europe has been researching sodium-ion batteries for longer, China actually commercialized them earlier and got a head start of at least 3 or 4 years. One of the main hurdles they face is weight. They tend to be heavier than lithium-ion batteries.
The physical dimensions will be a little bit larger. And so these are the main drawbacks of sodium versus lithium. It's the weight, it's the volume. The energy density is therefore a little bit lower compared to lithium.
William estimates that they're about half as powerful as their lithium counterparts in terms of generating power. This isn't a problem for small cars like those now used in China. But for bigger EVs meant to drive longer distances, larger and heavier batteries are needed.
With the sodium-ion batteries, we think that first in the energy storage system market, where we have 20-foot containers that are basically just being placed next to renewable energy assets and substations.
We're talking about stationary energy storage, battery-driven industrial equipment such as warehouse machinery, forklifts, and so on.
And while the production of sodium-ion batteries is slowly getting underway, the market for lithium-ion batteries is booming. One estimate puts the market value of sodium-ion batteries at $920 million by 2030. By comparison, lithium-ion batteries' market value is expected to grow to over $270 billion.
We will probably, at least in the next 20 years, not have the situation that so many sodium-ion batteries are made that lithium-ion battery production is decreasing. Maybe they are closing the gap, but a decline in lithium-ion battery production at the moment is not on the horizon, in my opinion.
The two technologies are similar in many ways, something battery makers have realized. Many lithium battery producers have started investing in sodium.
I believe that rather than viewing lithium-ion and sodium-ion as competitors, it would be more accurate to see them as a part of a larger landscape in energy storage solutions.
So what does China's head start mean for other companies trying to enter the market? Can they compete? The fact is that China is a forerunner in the production of electric vehicles and car batteries, and it's already begun commercializing sodium-ion batteries. Sodium is cheaper and available in larger quantities than lithium, but sodium-ion batteries are bigger and heavier. European companies are working on a viable product, but experts say that China is at least 3 to 4 years ahead. We will probably know in a few decades how successful they were, and whether sodium-ion batteries will dominate the market or be used alongside lithium ones. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.